Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another SLG Meetup. Now today I'm especially thrilled for our next guest because I'm sure a lot of you love to go to these luxury hotels around the world. Myself as a world traveler, I've been in some incredible hotels that now I'm seeing that it's been designed by the company that we're gonna have in today, HBA, Hirsch Associates. They are the leading interior design company when it comes to luxury hotels around the world. Actually, it's considered the birthplace for interior design. And for that, we're gonna have the Vice President of Development. Her name is Kaitlyn Thornton, and she's gonna tell us all about it and really go deep into the specifics on how they're putting together these incredible designs on some of the most prestigious hotels worldwide. So let's get going. There she is. What's happening, Kaitlyn? How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that was quite the introduction. Thank you.
Listen, well earned and deserved, because I gotta say, what you guys have been doing, it's fantastic. I was just looking at some of the projects. In fact, I was recently in Montenegro at the one and only, and I was eating at Savia. Well, amazing restaurant, and I didn't know that it was actually designed by you guys. So every time I look into a specific amazing spot, I'm like, man, HBA designed it. You guys are doing some of the most extraordinary interior designs for all these hotels worldwide. So tell us a little bit about how it comes that this is the birthplace of hospitality design.
Yeah, so I mean, chances are you've been at our properties as you've experienced. HBA has just been around for a really long time. The firm started in 1965 actually by the beach in Santa Monica. And at the time, the idea of interior design specifically for hospitality was basically a new concept, right? Like there was style and there was interiors, particularly in the residential space. But this notion of designing specifically for the unique challenges of operators, so operating a restaurant, operating a hotel, these are typologies that have very specific needs and requirements to function. And as the guest, you don't always want to see all of that, right? That's why it's called back of house. And so this idea of designing guest-facing spaces for these specific needs just had never really been happening. So HBA started and really kind of created the industry. Now HBA, is coming up on its 60-year anniversary. There's the hospitality design industry is huge, right? There's hundreds and thousands of amazing architects and designers that focus on hospitality. But again, back in 1965, we were more or less a category of one. Over the 60 years, HBA has grown from one studio by the beach to, I think we're 19 offices now globally. We have over 1,200 employees. Yeah, so it's been a pretty incredible trajectory if you look at the full history of the company.
100%. No, I mean, just by looking at the projects that you're working on, it's just fantastic.
Yeah,
and I gotta say,
is a great property. I mean, that's also just happens to be a fabulous brand. They're very judicious about where they put hotels, and they control their brand very carefully. Plus, it's Montenegro. It's one of the most beautiful places. So that's a very good.
That destination itself is gonna blow up because it's so beautiful and so magical. Can't get tired of that. But I just want to go deep into how, as a business, you've been able to evolve over time. Because as you mentioned, interior design as a thing, it has been changing over time. And as more architects, interior designers are coming out, and now with the power of social media, how do you stay ahead of the game?
That's a hard question. I always make the joke that we have a crystal ball in our office.
Okay, wow, I like that.
Yeah, I know, amazing.
Probably it's not a joke.
I mean, the way that we've, so there's kind of two parts to your question, like how did we evolve the business, and then kind of how do we stay at the forefront, right?
Correct.
So, oh, sorry, that was my dog. HBA really, if we think of design as through the lens of the guest, then HBA's business model has really evolved in the same way that if you imagine a guest journey. So imagine, like, let's use you were at the one and only in Montenegro. Let's use that as an example. You enter the hotel. When you immediately enter, think of all the things that you're experiencing. It isn't just the space planning, right? It's the uniform of the person who opens the door for you. Does he wear a uniform? Is he dressed in a suit or is he casual? The couch that you sit on, the material of that couch. When you go to the bar, the glass that you're holding, is it really heavy so you can like slam it down, or is it this really like crystal delicate flute? Is the lighting really bright, or is it dim and romantic and moody? So already we've talked about interiors, FF&E, lighting design, uniform design, tabletop design. We've talked about 5 things and we haven't even left the lobby yet.
Yeah.
So all of these are different services. And so what HBA has done over, decades is kind of build departments and teams that now touch all of these different parts of the project. So we have interior design, of course, which is how we started. To this day, it's still kind of the bread and butter of the practice. We have a huge lighting company called Light Directions that has been around for several decades, to give us more control, right? To make sure that the lighting is integrating with the interiors, which makes sense with the material on the furniture, right? Like all of these things need to kind of work in symphony, right?
Right.
And so that's been a major point of evolution for HBA. Today we have, I think, over a dozen brand partners, meaning entire businesses that HBA has birthed and grown. And that includes lighting, custom accessorizing. We have a landscape division. We're building an architecture practice. We have a graphics division, which handles everything from signage down to, the matchbook that you get at the restaurant. So the idea is everything's really cohesive in terms of the point of view of the guest. How we stay ahead of all of that, I mean, I'll be really candid with you. HBA's been around a long time, right? You've been around that long, you have kind of eras. So HBA has been through eras. We were at the forefront, we were at the beginning. They experienced a huge period of growth through the 80s. We have an office in Atlanta that, HBA Atlanta 1985 was like the pinnacle of interior design for our industry. We were very lucky in the early 2000s. HBA was one of the first companies in Asia, Hong Kong, and China. So when mainland China really went through that huge boom, HBA was already there. And so, I think we were able to scale and grow very quickly because of that. Now there's a lot more competition, right? There's always a wolf scratching at the door. And so, we've changed a lot, our recruitment practices, we educate our staff, we also travel a lot. I mean, one of the best ways to know what's out there is to just see it yourself and experience it.
Now, a lot of questions arise as we're thinking about this, right? But I want to go deep down into how do you really establish those relationships, right? How does a company decide, a hotel, let's say, oh, I want to work with you versus this other interior design firm?
So I can answer the question for me personally, and then I can maybe talk a little bit about kind of HBA. For me, I think I've always been in a development, growth, kind of brand role. I've been doing this for over 12 years now. And I think development gets a little bit of a bad rap. I think that when people hear development, or especially business development, what they really hear is sales. There's nothing, right? Like everyone has, like, immediately you have all this baggage, right, around the word sales. I've never done that. I don't believe in cold calling. I don't believe in kind of just sending stuff into the ether and like hoping for the best, right? We're in an industry that's about people. That's the approach I take with development, right? It's about long-term relationship building and also making sure that we're the right fit. Development, I think in its truest, best sense, is really about curating and making sure that you're bringing the right pieces together at the right time to realize a vision, right? And That takes patience, and that also is like very anti-sales in a way. It requires, I think, just a kind of a different sensitivity. HBA has been, again, very lucky because we've worked with so many operators. You know, I think here in the US in particular, you know, we do a lot with Marriott. We have a really great relationship with Hilton. And we're also willing to just start small. You know, we're willing to kind of start with a smaller scope, maybe just a lobby, and really work our way, again, kind of put one foot in front of the next, right? And build that relationship really methodically. Jumping into the deep end is great too. We do that sometimes, but the reality is that not every business, you know, you can't have a business model that is reliant on moonshots. Everything can't be like this moonshot, right? Like you do need some of that kind of slower, more methodical growth.
Right, consistency, the compound effect to keep on doing day after day, and then eventually you'll start looking at the bigger picture as wow. Now, if we talk about interior design, right? Because a lot of things have changed over the years, but now more than ever with COVID and everybody appreciating certain spaces. So have you seen a specific trend that we are facing now when it comes to interior design?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, COVID, I think, was like an existential awakening for everyone. You know, we were all trapped in our homes dealing with ourselves and not able to socialize. I mean, one of the earliest trends that I think everyone saw was this relationship between indoor and outdoor. So, you know, wellness, which is kind of an ambiguous term. I think it's being redefined every day right now. But you know, resorts. So specifically wellness, meaning resorts, have historically done this really well, right? You go to a resort, let's say, you know, you're in Bora Bora, right? And the whole point of being there is to be outside. And so those properties do a really good job through architecture, through landscaping, through spatial planning, to make sure that there's an almost kind of seamless integration, right? Between you're in your living room or you're outside in your plunge pool. Like it's all very kind of, it flows, it's very open. I think after being trapped inside during COVID, suddenly there was a very real craving for more of this type of living. I'm sure there are some pragmatic reasons for that too. Being outside is better for air circulation, etc. So we've seen almost immediately an infusion of kind of wellness principles being infused into almost every project. I mean, I can't even tell, I've done so many urban resorts, right? Because even in a skyscraper in the middle of a dense city, we're still looking to bring in some of these ideas from resort and wellness.
Now, I gotta ask you, we always ask this to our guests, but what is it really luxury to you?
Oh, man. So for me, luxury is a simple idea done completely.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. Sounds easy. But I think in order to deliver on that, to really execute a simple idea done completely, you need intention. And for me, that's luxury. I think, and this isn't restricted to hotels, right? Like this could apply to anything. It could apply to the perfect white t-shirt, the perfect glass of champagne, right? I think intention is something, especially now, you know, our media landscape is incredibly fractured. I'm included. I sit on the couch watching TV and I'm on Instagram, right? Like that's insane. And so I think in this reality where everything is so much all the time, this idea of intention, of a single point of view, it's actually really, I think, rare.
Can't wait to meet you and get to do other things together. Definitely the one in Johannesburg that you were talking about. Waiting for that exclusive sneak peek. And in the meantime, just wishing you well. Thanks again, Kaitlyn, for everything. You are amazing. And for everybody listening or watching, please follow them. They're doing amazing. Great source of inspiration for interior design and great team. So thanks again. And we'll see each other very soon.
Yeah.